All right, guys. Hey, welcome to the FFL USA podcast. My name is Stephen Yee. I will be your guest today. I'm excited to be able to have one of the top producers, not just in the agency, but in the entire company, Harold Durana. Yeah. So here's the cool part. Harold, we just got back. Some of the partners and we just got back from a meeting with, Integrity and Sean and all that stuff. So we can share numbers if we actually tell them how you did it. So just to start this off, I'm curious, how much premium did you write last year by yourself? Not team volume, by yourself. How much premium did you write?
That was $1.3 million.
$1 million and 3,000 or
Yeah, 1,003,000.
Wow. Okay. How much did you spend on leads doing that?
A lot. I know it's like probably at least a quarter.
So like 250,000
Yeah, at
ish.
least.
Okay. And then how many hours do you work roughly to do that?
10-hour minimums.
A day?
It was pretty.
40, 50 a week?
Yeah. Easily.
Okay. And no, it's not typical, and we can't guarantee that you'll do it too, but Harold did do it, so we're just going to start off the podcast with that. But, dude, the other thing that people don't know is, like, we're somehow related, kind of, through marriage, kind of, somehow. But he's not on my team, but I love the guy to death because he's helped us so much. But, Harold, how did you find the industry? Because you didn't start at Family First Life. You started at another company. Mm-hmm. How did you even find the industry and then ended up here?
That's a great question. I started out, first I was doing cell phones.
Okay.
Typical, young
Wait. Singular or like?
Yeah, when it was still singular.
Yeah, I had singular.
Yes. So I was doing that. I was the annoying person at the mall trying to get you to come buy a phone.
You're that guy.
Yeah, definitely. It was it was fun though. When you're young, it's super fun. And, I was doing that for a while. I was making good money. As a young, 18, 19, 20-year-old, you're like, oh, this is cool. 21, you're like, I'm making good money. And somebody actually that I worked with went to insurance.
Okay.
And, what she hit me up one time and was like, hey, you should try this insurance thing. I was like, what's insurance? Like, what do you mean? Life insurance? I was like, what is that?
Right.
She was like, I make more money now. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And it was funny because she actually literally showed me a check. And I was like, wait, what is this? Is this like a month, a week? And she was like, oh, this is for a week. I was like, all right, I'm going to try it. Let's do this. And the funny thing is I went to the whole, the interview process that they had. And no clue what life insurance was. 21 years old. Of course, I don't. What is that? Right?
Right.
Went home to my mom. Was like, what's life insurance?
Like, do you even have any?
Yeah, what is that? Explained to me the whole thing. And, just like any other mom, very supportive and was like, just give it a shot. Try it. Why not? You might like it. If you don't like it, it's okay. Try something else, right? It's kind of like, that's what parents do.
You got a different type of parent than me because my parents were like, you're stupid.
You're not a doctor.
They're like, right.
Yeah.
They're like, get a different license.
Get a real job. I'm 21. So my mom was like, yeah, just give it a shot. We'll see what, whatever happens, happens. So she already knew I didn't want to do the whole school route.
Right.
She was already there. She's like, yeah, you're not doing the school thing. Because I tried school. But
so how long were you at that company? And how did they run their business model compared to, what you've done here?
Very, very, very different business model. So the thing is that it was a captive company. So just one carrier, just a small line of products. Okay. And they have, their niche market leads. Okay. So the thing is when you're working that style, when it's like a niche market lead, and it's very specific, it's not an abundance of leads, so and that's one of the big reasons why I came here because of that, because you're stepping on each other and it's too much recycling of leads. You're basically passing them to the right. Every time you work leads, you just go pass to the next person, pass to the next person. And it was constant. Okay. But I started out actually in the field. I did go do in-home visits, knocked on doors, did all the above, drove all over the place. And I actually liked it. It was fun. But when your life changes, of course that was like 10 years of that. And then 2 years was Zoom. And when you get into Zoom, You're like, wow, I don't have to leave the house. I just have to put on a polo
Shirt.
or button up, do my hair if I need to. And it changed, right? And then I had kids. That completely changed the dynamic of the business for me, right? Being able to be home, being able to work from home and not have to disappear for like 12 hours, right? Because it'll be like if you're driving to a territory, you're like, takes an hour to get there. You're running a 10-hour, 8-hour, 9-hour, 10-hour day, and then another hour to get home.
Right.
Now you're looking at 12 hours I've been gone. Now I'm home and it's comfortable, right? I get comfort of my home. The thing too, though, is when working from home is you could either take advantage of it or you could take advantage of it,
All right.
right?
Explain that for them that they don't understand.
Yeah. There's some people who take advantage of it in a bad way. It's like, oh, I'm at home. Oh, I can go to the grocery store middle of the day. I can go to the gym middle of the day. Oh, you want to go have lunch? Let's go have a 2-hour lunch. Yeah, sure. We can do all those things, right? Because I work from home. I'm my own boss. I'm going to do my own thing. But what are you doing? You're just taking away time from your business, and that ultimately is hurting you, right? So that's why sometimes, field was good for a lot of people because it took them out of the comfort of their home, took them out of the office, you had to go somewhere. Whereas working from home, you got to have a certain level of discipline, right? And even having your own home office makes it a lot easier. You have a place to go, you have a spot. That's important. Always have a good place. And then again, you could take advantage of it in a good way by you could start your day as early as you want, like early as not that you want to, but you need to, right? So like if you needed to take an early morning appointment, you could because you're at home and you can go to your home office, and take those early appointments. Or if you have a late appointment, right? Instead of it being like, oh man, I'm in a territory. My last appointment's like, let's say 9 o'clock at night, and you're kind of stuck there.
Right.
Versus at home, I'm like, all right, cool, I can take these. And when you're from working from home, I mean, you can take advantage of time zones. You can take advantage of even just time in general, because we're gonna get no shows. Of course, you're gonna get people not picking up, but you can completely stuff your schedule, every half hour easily.
And that's the nice part is you can run different, territories.
Mm-hmm.
You can run like 30, 40, 50 different states if you really wanted to, compared to like being geographically, you have to run within an hour to 2 mile or hour to 2 hour radius, right? Mm-hmm. So how did you actually find Family First Life, and how did you become a part of the agency here?
Yeah, great question. So I came here through way of Isaiah Tatamy.
Okay. And, great guy, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely great guy. He was actually at the last company.
Okay.
For just a blink, like a quick flash. It was in and out. During that time, most of the time I was never looking, right? Always getting recruited, sure, but never looking active, like never looking myself, right? Just people just approaching. Then at a certain point, when you are having tough conversations with your agents about leads, not having enough leads, people not making bills, people getting stressed out, and it's just you're playing this lead shuffle game too much, you start to think and you go, and then your eyes start getting wider and wider, and you start looking around and you're like, these guys don't have a lead problem.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's always the number one in this industry. The biggest thing is leads. Lead flow is cash flow.
Yep.
So it opened my eyes. Somebody had connected me with Isaiah. Was like, hey, give him a call. He was here. He knows what it's like here. Give him a call. He went over there. He's doing really well. You should give him a call. Talked to him, had a conversation, and his approach, way better than anybody else's, right? Everybody was, come over here. You are going to make more money. You'll be up. You'll get up there. You will make all this money and everything, right? And his approach was different. It was, how's your team? Let's talk team. How's your guys doing? What's your bottom agent doing? Can they survive on that comp structure? Right? Based on how many policies they write. They write 2, 3, 4, 5 policies. Can they survive on that comp structure? And the answer was no. Right. Unless they lived in the basement of their parents' home, then yeah, right. Sure. That's the issue, right? The leads, not the wrong comp structure and all that stuff. I mean, it happens. So had this conversation and took a leap of faith. That was a very difficult decision. Coming from a place where 12 years of comfort, income wise, very comfortable. Okay. And having to explain this, you know, for anybody, explain to your spouse,
Right.
hey, I know we're extremely comfortable. We're doing really well. I'm going to reset. I'm going to start all over and try this again and do it all over and start from nothing. Like, you ready for this ride? It's like,
But here's the thing, though. You didn't start from zero. And that's what I always tell people. It's, you know, because you don't lose the knowledge.
absolutely.
You already know what didn't work, what you didn't like. So when you go to a new place, you can seek out the things that you wanted to seek out, right? And that's what I wanted to kind of talk about is, you know, you came in here and immediately went into the telesales, virtual sales immediately right off the bat, right? And at the time, it was somewhat frowned upon because we were still going in the homes at the time.
Yeah.
And then you just flipped the switch and went berserk, right? Like, so that $1 million of premium that you sold on your own last year, you didn't meet no client face to face, not one.
Not even on Zoom either. Never even seen it. Never seen them.
So like, explain that because, you know, you talked about the advantages of being able to work, you know, different time zones and all that. You know, one of the things I always tell people that, you know, are joining our industry, they want to do virtual sales or telesales because they think it's easier. In my opinion, if you're not very disciplined, it's worse.
Yeah.
Because they can go wash the dishes because they can go vacuum. They can do whatever they want during business hours. And that's so unproductive. And the other thing, too, is like literally, you know, I don't know how you do it, but we've transitioned to a home office, too, recently, right? And when I sat down with Janelle, my wife, I said, all right, I can't just have like a little tiny table in the loft. Like, give me an actual office. Like, I need a full-blown desk with my computer set up and, you know, my tools that I need to work. I see so many people literally roll out of bed and just sit on the couch and do telesales, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that works that way. You know, and so what do you suggest? Because obviously you sold way more insurance than I did. When it comes to the guys that are doing virtual sales, like, what are some of those things that they need that they don't think they need, but they need in order to succeed?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay, my setup at home, I do have a large desk. It is overkill, just so you know in advance. It is overkill. I run a 4-screen setup, and it's only for my own scatterbrain,
right?
Because I scatter sometimes, and I just don't like clicking around to all these different tabs. So I do have like a 31-inch screen in front of me. I got two 27s on the side, and then I have another 27 that's vertical.
Okay.
So, but the reason why I do this is because I am not the person who can just keep clicking around and stuff like that. I just hate that. It's too much of a distraction for me. So I want to have everything that I need, like tab wise, all in front of me. I use insurance toolkits. It's up no matter what, right?
Okay.
I have the lead. It's up no matter what. I have my presentation bullet points. It's up no matter what. Okay, so I have everything that I know I'm going to use up. So I'm not like, click.
Where do I go?
Where do I go? So now all I do is just turn my head left and right, and it's there in front of me.
Okay. Now, did you start off that way?
I started off with, at first, a laptop, 1 screen.
Got it.
And then I'm like, okay, let me do another screen. So laptop, 2 screens.
Okay.
Then I had this, I was like, I need a better computer, right? And you know, and I have this debate with people all the time about what computer to get. And I'm like, let's think about this. 99% of everything that I do is at home. So why am I using a laptop? Let me get a desktop that actually has more power.
Yep.
You know, to be able to do the things I want it to do, more capacity. You know, I'm not dependent on a battery life. You know, so I went and got a desktop. But at first, started with a laptop.
Because that's the thing that a lot of people get worried about, right? They go, well, you know what? I don't have 4 screens. I don't have this, you know, amazing Alienware computer. Hey, I'm out. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, nobody started that way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I remember when I started, I had, do you remember Surface Pros?
Yeah.
I had one of those.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't afford the iPad Pro and all that stuff,
yeah.
right? And then eventually you transition because you see results. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people get tripped on is like they go, well, if I don't have those things right away, I can't do what they do. No, that's an excuse.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people that do telesales that probably only have 1 screen. That's fine.
Yeah.
What other things besides your setup? Like, you know, how disciplined are you in your schedule? Like, how do you plan out your schedule? You know, obviously you have a wife and beautiful kids too. So how do you prevent them from knocking on the door and going, "Hey, Harold, can you go take out the trash real quick?" Like,
Yeah.
what do you do in that sense?
I love that question. It's my favorite. The reason why is because our family, like, wife, kids, I mean, kids are, 3 turning 4 and then I have a 5-year-old. Obviously, they don't really know, what.
But they go, "Daddy's home."
Yeah, they know, but they don't know. But my wife absolutely knows. My number one supporter, absolutely. Understands everything that I do, understands how I operate, understands my mentality. I mean, I still get, in trouble, but
Who doesn't?
but absolute supporter. So, and I have this conversation with a lot of agents, especially if they have a spouse and they have kids. You need to have that conversation with your spouse. You need to go, "Hey, here's my goals. Here's what we want to accomplish as a family. Here's the things that we like to do, and I want to be able to provide those things. Now, in order to do so, I got to go to work." Right? So, my wife and my kids know when daddy's at the desk, he's working. He's doing stuff. I also have a headset, and it's a wireless one because I like to pace when I talk. So, but it's on. They know I'm at the desk. I mean, sometimes will they come and want to jump on and see what I'm doing? Absolutely. But then it's like, "Hey, daddy has to go to work," and they know. Okay, well, let's go upstairs, right? And my wife knows. "Hey, daddy's working. Come on upstairs. Let's come over here to play."
Right.
But I have that agreement with my wife. She knows. Hey, we live a certain lifestyle. We get to do the things we want to do. We get to take the vacations that we actually want, like how we want to, right? And for us, it's, I work crazy hours, sure, and I really go do what I have to do. But for me, every single month for the family, we have an agreement, with my wife that once a month we have a weekend getaway, a weekend whatever, right? If we want to fly somewhere, drive somewhere, there's no rules. Whatever you want to do, we'll do it. She says, "Hey, let's go to Hawaii." Cool, let's do it. I'm not going to hesitate. I'm not going to argue with it, because she's allowing me to put in all of this work,
Right.
to do what I want to do, what I need to do to get to where we need to be as a family, right? So I don't put any rules on those things. Like, even like, let's say it's like Halloween and you want me to put on a weird costume. Cool, I'm with it. Let me go to work. Let me do the things I need to do so that I can take that day off, so I can do those things, right?
Because that's the thing I think I see a lot of people do wrong in this business is they want to celebrate too early, right? And one of the things that I've learned early in this business is, like, you earn those 2-day vacations. You earn that reset. You earn the ability to go, charge your card or whatever it is without looking at the price tag. So many people, like, by the way, because at the clip you write, like we said earlier to start this call, that is not normal. And it's okay that it's not normal, right? But the nice thing is it's possible because someone did it, right? So if someone wanted to go get it and chase it, they can. The reason why I'm saying this is you have guys that write a fifth, maybe 1/10 of your volume. I go, "I work hard. I need to take a break now." Dude, respectfully, no.
Yeah.
You haven't. And see, like, the word hard work is so relative, right? Because it's like, how do you define hard work? Like, 'cause what you say, you're lazy, I might go, "Dude, that guy's a freaking nut. Like, I couldn't work at that level." Or what because I've always said this, when you interview people, everybody says the same thing. "I'm hard work, I'm disciplined, I'm accountable."
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Because until you actually see them at work, you don't know what that really means. And they might think they're hardworking, and you go, "Man, that dude is lazy as heck."
Yeah.
Right? And so I love that because my business changed when I set expectations with my wife too. And I said, "Hey, babe, this is what we're going to do." Our kids at the time, our daughter was 1, and I said, "I can either miss some stuff now for the next year or 2 that she probably wouldn't remember anyways, because most people can't recall a memory prior to the age of 40. If you don't believe me, try to. Tell me what you did for your second birthday. I don't know. I don't think you know." So I said, "I can miss a few of these things now, and it's going to suck. But when she's 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 15, I'll be at everything.
Yeah.
Or I'll be at all those things now. But when she has dance recital, golf, basketball, volleyball, whatever it is, sorry, can't make it." Why? Because daddy has a job. And so when I put that in her court and let her choose, she chose whatever she wanted, which was sacrifice a little bit of time now so I could do those things later. And so when I needed to go on those runs, when I needed to have an extra call or 2 or 3, when it's family time, she wasn't busting my chops for it because she knew at the end of the day it was because of her family.
Exactly.
And when my daughter and my kids got older, my son's 2.5 now, it's like, hey, what do you guys want to do? We want to go to Disneyland, right? And I'm like, okay, like we know what that costs. Kids don't understand the concept of money, right?
Yeah.
We know what that costs. And they're like, all right, we can go to Disneyland. Well, what do you want to do? We want to ride the rides and eat all the popcorn that we can and all the churros. And I'm like, all right, they can really only eat probably like 4 or 5 churros.
Yeah.
That's going to be a couple $100. They don't understand what that costs. For us, it's like, dude, if we go rip 50, 60, whatever it is, we can go do that like 15 times.
Yeah.
But they don't get that. And it's okay. But it's like, for me, I'm like, all right, baby girl, if you want to go to Disneyland, if you want to go eat all the, churros that you can, daddy has to be away for the next few hours to be able to earn money to go do those things. And when she understood it, I lost the guilt.
Yeah.
Because I felt guilty in the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever do.
Absolutely.
I felt guilty because like they would knock on the door and then they would want to sit on your lap and see what you're doing. And like, dude, it's hard to be able to tell your kid no.
Yeah.
But it's a short-term pain because what happens is, what's better is when I get to see their faces when we go do those things. And I'm assuming it's the same for you. When you actually get to go away for a day or two or whatever it is, and you can see how much joy they have because of all the hard work you built in that you can say yes. Like that's why I did it. And then for them, that's the reason why they knew we had to do it. It was actually really cool. So recently, like the last few days I was gone, I was out of town, and my son gets on my keyboard and just starts banging on things. He's 2.5. He doesn't know what's going on, right? And my wife goes, Bryson, what are you doing? He's like, working like daddy. And for me, like some people think it's crazy, but I'm like, dude, that's cool because at least he understands you got to work.
Yeah.
And so that's cool, man. I love that you set the table with your family like that too and set the expectations because I don't think a lot of people do. That's the number one thing I get all the time. Yeah. They go, how do you and your wife work so well together here? I'm like, dude, we set expectations, clear boundaries on day one to know. And it's if the answer is no, because that's the other hardest part, is you don't have a supportive spouse in this business gets really hard. Because the last thing you want is when you have a day of no shows, no sales, whatever it is, your wife's like, told you that thing didn't work.
Yeah.
Like that's the worst thing compared to someone that like you have those days and your wife's like, hey, we're good. We'll bounce back.
Yeah.
Like I remember my wife was like, I'd be like, man, I got a 8:30 appointment. It's an hour away. I want to come home. She's like, nope. Stay in the field.
Yeah.
You always tell your agents, you got to go to the last one. Now you got to do it too. Don't be a hypocrite. I'm like, damn. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like that's cool when they're on your side and they know what the goals are as a family. They can support you and you don't feel that guilt because that's the thing that killed me the most.
Yeah, and that conversation is important because I've had that conversation with my wife. Say, hey, look, I'm gonna work really hard. I can't have you yelling at me talking about all you do is work, all you do is this, and all you do is that. That's not. It's gonna make it worse for me. I am gonna have that guilt.
Right.
I'm not gonna feel good. And now I'm talking to clients and I don't feel good.
Right.
Right. So and the thing is that when you do have a spouse, you need to share wins. That's also a big thing. If you're not,
that's so good. Nobody ever talks about that.
Yeah. If you don't share your wins with your spouse, like you're out of your mind, dude. I write a deal. It's obviously over and over again. I write a deal. I tell her, yo, I wrote this one. Oh, you should have heard this client. Oh, you should have done this. Oh, look what. Oh, I wrote this. I wrote that. Oh, their kids this. Their kids that. I talk about those things,
right?
And I get that reinforcement for, hey, you're doing a good job, babe, good job. Hey, she comes and tells me, I appreciate you working really hard so that we can take that vacation,
right?
And now it's like for me, I'm like, this is why I do what I do. Then when you get on that vacation, you're like, again, with that smile on your kid's face, priceless. Time. You were talking about time. As a kid, yes, I'm kind of in agreement with you. That whole like, yes, this first couple of years, I don't remember stuff. For me, I'm like, yeah, if I can work like this, and then later when they're in like middle school, high school, whatever, and I get to do every field trip.
Yeah.
Okay, I played soccer when I was a kid, and my parents couldn't get to every single game and every single practice. And for me, I'm like, I want to change that trajectory, right? Because whether they're good or not good, it doesn't really matter, right? But let's say it's soccer, they score a goal. Guess what? The first thing they do is they look
in the bleachers
and they wave.
Right.
Even right now, my son does jujitsu. He doesn't really listen, but when he does something, he looks, waves.
Right.
Priceless. Put a price on that. You can't.
Yeah.
You just can't. Right. And that's because I work so hard. I'm able to do those things. Right. And I've even had someone's like, oh, you take these vacations, you go with the family and do all these things. Like, what if you worked? I'm like, I know what you're saying. It's like I could work and you could have made X amount of dollars. And I'm like, you cannot put a price on family time.
No.
I don't care what dollar you tell me.
No.
Right? I already worked really hard to be able to get these priceless times and memories. That's what this is for.
Dude, I said this, I heard this online because, you know, one of the things that I felt guilty about was being an absentee father. I'm not one, but I felt like I was because I was working so much. And I had this mentor, he was, dude, this like changed my life. He goes, hey, weren't you coaching basketball? I was like, yeah. He goes, and don't you have a family too? And he's like, I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, Stephen Yee is not necessarily a father first or a husband first or a basketball coach first. He goes, you don't rank those things. It's just who you are. He goes, Stephen Yee, the businessman, is also Stephen Yee, the father and the husband. It's 1A, 1B, 1C. It's not 1, 2, 3. And when he told me that, I was like, oh my God, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because my business life allows me to support my personal life, and my personal life allows me to drive the sales and the organization for the business life.
Yeah.
It's not 1A, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's 1A, 1B, 1C. And I was like, dude, that's so good. And because like what you're saying is, you know, I've lost both of my parents. We weren't wealthy. I'm not saying I am now, but like I can assure you, when I was in the hospital with my mom for 21 days straight, never did we talk about the money we had in the bank. It was always about the memories we had. You know what I mean? And it's like so many people go, oh, you could have worked there. Dude, I get it, but I've already worked harder than you. So I can't take a break, right? But the other thing is like money, I always feel like we can always make more of. Time we can never get back.
Yep.
You know, so I love that, man, because, you know, we rarely talk about that here sometimes. And it's so important because people look at us and go, you're workaholics. Dude, we enjoy it too, though. You just don't get to see it. We show you what we want you to see.
Yeah.
You know, so that's cool, man. Let's actually dive into some training tips for the guys that sell virtual sales. Obviously, for you to rip the type of premium that you rip, you know, what are some things that you have to do? Because you said something earlier that I don't think a lot of people caught. And you go, I got 3 screens. I got, you know, quoting software on one. I got, you know, probably your Slack or whatever on the other. And you got a script on the other. And then you got the client's lead form on the other, right? I watched like Dominique Rogers and Trey Honeycutt here recently at one of our lock-ins. And Dom said, dude, I used to be able to book face-to-face appointments without ever reading a script because it was straight conversational. He goes, telesales is a different beast.
It is.
It's a different beast. And then Trey Honeycutt validated. He goes, dude, I thought I was good, so I can just free for all it. He goes, but what I realized was when I stuck to a script, especially in telesales, the sales came. You talked about having a script. For someone that sells the type of premium that you do, why do you have one?
It's a roadmap, right? So again, for most people, everybody naturally wants to start having random conversations with clients. You're talking to a client, you know, a lot of these clients are really interesting, have interesting jobs, interesting place they live. You naturally want to start talking about it and getting off topic. It doesn't help you, right? So for me, it's my roadmap, it's my agenda, right? So I'm always looking at it and knowing what's next. And it's funny because everybody's like, you don't have it memorized? I'm like, no. And they're like, I make sure mentally I don't have it memorized. Can I memorize it? Absolutely, sure. But I don't, because if you memorize it, it gives you too much room for interpretation, right? And too much room for this way, that way. Now, if I just see my roadmap every single time, it's like, you know, we have GPS. You're not going to just be like, yeah, you know what? It says turn left. I'm just going to turn right. No, you're going to follow it, right? So you're trying to get to a destination. So I do it the same exact way. I go boom, 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 boom. I'm not trying to, and again, it makes it faster, right? It makes it easier because I'm not going, if I know I have, let's say, 8 points that I need to hit, I'm not going 1, 6, 3, 2, 4, 5, 8. And then you're like, wait, did I say that? 8. Oh, well, let me go back to 2, 4, 5. And I'm like, oh, I'm lost. Right? But if I know I'm just going down all the way through, I don't get lost. It keeps me on task. It keeps me going, and it prevents me from going different directions. So a lot of people try to go like, oh, I'm going to freestyle this. I'm like, it's not going to help you. You're going to keep going back and forth. You're going to repeat yourself so many times, I promise you. Okay? And then the thing is too, is like, even as a new agent, you know, I heard this the other day. It was like, somebody was like, well, I just kind of go with the flow. Like, I just make up my own thing, right? And this isn't like, no offense to anybody, right? No offense to anybody, you know, any new agent or anything like that. But, you know, when I talk to new agents and they're like, oh, I just freestyle, do this thing. And I'm like, how long have you been in the industry? Oh, 1 month, 2 months, oh, a week, 6 months. And I'm like, all right, like, no offense, but what makes you think you have a right to create a presentation?
Yeah.
Like, you have no experience. So you just think, hey, this sounds good. I'm going to do this. This sounds great. I'm going to do that.
Right.
You don't need to do that. Everything's already been pre-written. There's a whole bunch of, you know, people who've already done it. Just follow the proper presentation that they're telling you to do. Don't think like, I'm going to go in and just make it up myself and I'll be good. It's like, it's funny when agents like, you know, I did that presentation. It was the best presentation ever. And it's like, who listened to you? Just myself. I'm like, yeah, of course. It was the greatest presentation on the planet because I heard myself. I thought I did great. Sounds great in here. Didn't sound great coming out though. But it sounds great to you. And then, and I made this mistake in the beginning. I thought it sounded great. Isaiah was like, why'd you say that?
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I don't know. I have no idea. But you don't know that, right? Because again, I made all those mistakes. And that's why we try to, again, as you know, when you have a team, you try to tell them, oh, hey, these are all the mistakes that I made. Don't do it.
Right.
But everybody wants to find out on their own.
Right. They got to touch the stove.
Yeah.
See, the crazy part is like you have dummy proofed the telesales process.
Yeah.
Because here's why I say that. Because not only have you written at a high clip, see, the ultimate measure of a successful agent, in my opinion, is you might be able to go do it. Can you teach someone else to go do it? And when you have guys on your team that rip the type of premium that you write to, then it goes, okay, so respectfully, it's not because he's special, because he's done it too, she's done it too. Like, they're all doing it.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's the beauty of what you're able to do in the system that you have. Because we've always said system stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. Well, okay, cool. Why would I be a brand new agent and go create something that I don't know? And the other thing is they don't know what they don't know. They don't understand why your word tracks are the way they are. They don't know the closing questions are written the way they are. They don't understand the objections are removed because you ask it a certain way. Like, they don't get that because they're so new.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if they can remove the ego and if they can remove what they think they know, then therefore they can have the success that you have. You said something earlier that was really good. I learned that effective communication is not what you say, it's what they hear.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you want to say versus what is received is two different things.
Exactly.
And when they hear themselves talk, they go, oh, this is what the client hears. Dude, I had a guy, funny story, true story. He was a phenomenal sales guy at whatever industry he came from, right? He's one of those guys that are like, I'm going to kill this because I have so much sales experience. And he comes in here and he did a sales presentation. I think he went like 0 for 9.
Yeah.
Right? And he goes, dude, I don't get it. Why people are not buying from me. I was like, hey, this is really weird. But the next time you do a sales presentation, record it on your phone, like on voice recorder, and send me the audio. And I think in the first like 9 minutes of like his interaction with the client, he's offended them like 20 times.
Jesus.
Without even knowing that he did.
Yeah.
That was the crazy part. Like, for example, he's asking medical conditions, and he goes, hey, Mary, have you ever had a heart attack, stroke? No. Okay, what about cancer? She goes, yes. And he goes, awesome. Because he thought it was the normal, because he was like, yeah, this is what I normally say. It's just robotic for me to say it. And I'm like, dude, there's nothing awesome about having cancer.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you said this. He goes, no, I didn't. And I'm like, 3 minutes, 24 seconds. And he goes, oh my gosh, I said that. I'm like, yeah, dude, you don't even know you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why, like you said, a sales script is so vital because you can literally go, hey, back, right? The thing about, you said GPS. When I turn right, when I'm supposed to go left, you know what GPS does? It goes, relocate. And it basically changes everything and then bring me right back on track. And that's what your script does. And I love that. Is there anything that you can give tips-wise? Right? Because a lot of people do telesales. Whoop-de-doo. And they write, a fraction of what you write. Are there any tips that you can give that people probably would overlook or they don't even think they're missing it that you can probably help them out with in their business?
For telesales?
Yeah.
Specific? Yeah, absolutely. Like going into telesales. Okay, so just telesales in general. How, like, this question comes up. Like, I want to start doing telesales. What do I do? I'm like, great question. I love that. And I'm like, burn that bridge of driving. And they're like, what do you mean? Go buy leads in another state. You ain't driving there.
There you
Promise
go.
you. You're never going to drive there. Okay? So now you have no choice but to do it. Because you're like, all right, I'm not driving there, so let's just run it. Let's do it. Second thing is basically putting yourself in the correct position at home, right? Again, having a work station, because you need to feel like you are at work. If you are, again, you said earlier, oh, I'm on the couch, roll out of bed, I'm on the couch, I'm in the bed. You're not in the right mentality. You're still in the like, let me lay down and chill mentality, right? For me, I'm going straight to my desk, sitting at that desk, turning everything's on, everything's ready to go. I have all my tools, all my pens here, I have pencil here, whatever, everything that I need right in front of me, water, whatever it is that I need. All that stuff is right there in front of me, so I'm ready to go. Like as if you went to a regular office or a regular job, you have to have all your stuff. Okay, so I make sure that your mentality is right. Then the second thing is, again, presentation. My best advice is making sure your first presentation is not your first presentation. Everybody's like,
so good.
What does that mean? And I'm like, well, recollection. And they're like, okay, if your first presentation is the first time you are going through the presentation, you're not going to have recollection. So first thing you do is when you start your day, I do it, same ritual. I literally go through my presentation. I'll do it out loud sometimes I won't, but I'll run through the presentation all the way through and through, so that when I am sitting with somebody and I'm like, I remember things, it's recollection because I just did it. It wasn't the first time. Because usually when it's your first presentation, it's always rusty, sounds funny. You pause a lot and you're like, where am I at? But when you make it your second presentation, okay, now you're just remembering everything you were just saying before, and you remember to stay on track. Okay. Again, telesales is all about making sure the home is right. Your home, at home, because your business isn't going to be right. You're not going to do well if your home isn't correct, your family isn't correct. Okay. Because if you don't have yourself in that strict schedule of I'm working, you think like, oh, I'm going to get up and go, again, do the dishes. I'm going to go, lunch, let's go do it. Let's take a 2-hour lunch. It's all good. I'm my own boss. I could do that.
Right.
And people tend to do that. It's a big mistake. I get it. We do have that, right? But it's earned. Exactly what you said. It's earned. That's an earned right that you give to yourself. You don't do it just because you can, right? You got to earn your way to be able to take some time off and, be able to do those lunches. Sure. Right. So, again, get rid of those, get rid of that bridge of driving. Go buy leads outside of the state. Go work them. Okay. Make sure your home is right. Make sure your business, your office, it's all correct. Okay. Because you have to be in the right mind state. Again, that positivity, that mindset, how you start your day is super important. My wife hates it. I put on YouTube or some type of audiobook or something positive. I like to start my day on a positive note. Okay. Every day you start off, like an even keel. You're not positive, you're not negative or anything like that. So I want to start my day as high as possible, right? On a positive note. So if something does hit me that is negative, it only takes me like, I'm at an 8, it'll take me down 1 notch. I'm still positive. If I was at an even keel, right? Something negative happens. Now I'm already in the negative zone. I don't want that to happen. So I keep my days, I start my days off right. Okay. And again, remove all distractions. Remove any distraction. I don't have no TV next to me. I don't got nothing. I can close myself into my office and do my work, and go to work, right? Do those things, right? And then again, that other thing we were talking about, presentation. Do not reinvent the wheel. Do not reinvent it. There's no point. Okay. So follow what's already the path that's been beaten. Okay. And I think one more thing, actually, most important thing, you need to make sure somebody is listening to you. Every presentation. Okay. Because they will catch something that you say, like you just said earlier, that you didn't know you were saying. Just one little thing. Like even asking a client, what do you think? And they're like, yeah, you're right. I don't know. I should probably think about this. I'm like,
why'd you say that?
Why'd you say that? Or even when you're going over options. So this is going to cost you on a monthly basis. And you're like making it sound terrible. It's like, don't, again, you never catch those things. As you're always going to think, I did the best presentation ever. And then exactly what you're saying, you offended somebody so many times, you
You
said,
know you
"Oh,
did
you
it.
didn't know, right? Somebody else will catch it. And that's what you got to do, because that's how you get better. You can never ever get better in this business by yourself. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't learn more from yourself. How do you do that?
Right.
you know?
That's good, man. Because so many people have that ego and thinking, I know it all.
Mhm.
And it's sometimes it's like, dude, you always wonder why like professional athletes and like, high level sports teams, they always goes back to the basics.
Mhm.
Because sometimes it's just a gentle reminder that you need to go, oh man, this is why I need to do it that way, right? Like John Wooden, won 10, 11 national championships at UCLA or whatever it is. First day of practice of every year, hey, this is how you tie your shoes. This is how you put on your jersey. How you put on your shorts. And everybody's like, why does he do that? Because at the end of the day, it's back to the basics.
Mhm.
And we need to set that foundation, even in our sales. And so, I want to wrap it up soon because, we're doing great. You're building an agency and it's growing really quickly too. And, your agency, what you're wearing your sweatshirt on is the Illuminate virtual team. And so many people are flocking to you guys because you sell so much insurance and you're teaching people how to do it. What is it that you think your advantage is over, joining another company or whatever it is? Like, what is it that you guys do so well that other people can't replicate?
I think what we do is replicatable. That's the thing too, right? But it also starts from the top. Culture is everything. So for our team, culture is everything. We're all about positivity. Like we have like our office Zoom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's no negativity allowed. If you're negative, you got to go, or you will have a conversation. Okay? Once you log in, I guess,
Right.
to the Zoom, there's no managers. There's no such thing as I'm your manager, you're my manager, my team this, your team that. That's a culture killer. Okay. So the thing is that every single one of us, we know what it's like to be a brand new agent. Okay. So if that agent is talking to a client and you're like, oh, you should probably ask your manager. Why would you do that?
Right.
Like, oh, I have a question. The client has a question. What do I do? Right. Answer the question if you can, obviously,
Right.
to the capacity. But that's how we breed our culture is, we are one team. Everybody helps each other. There's, there's no such thing as my team, your team. This is a us thing.
Right.
This is us together. I believe in the whole, you get raised by a village.
Right.
Right. So everybody's helping out. It's a culture thing. There's no such thing as, me. That's not going to work. You
Right.
can't build a team like that. And also it's like, even with our like management team, for example, a lot of managers and, agencies, they like to run somewhat of like a dictatorship,
Mm-hmm.
right? For us, it's a board. I run a board. Obviously, there's certain things where I'm like, hey, we can't do that, right?
Right.
But we run a board system. Like, let's say we need to make some changes, we need to fix some things or training or whatever it is. We put it on the table. I get my trusted managers, and we put it on the table. Hey guys, we're all even, all on the same, level. Here's the issue that we need to fix, whether it be training, script, whatever it is. How do we fix it? Everybody puts in their ideas. Okay? It's funny. It's like, I've even put an idea and I've gotten outvoted.
Mhm.
It's like, and I'm like, dang, I wanted to do that. And they're like, nah, we're not doing that. Okay, cool. But I keep it fair because everybody has a voice, and that's how you build a team. If you build a team of, you do this, you do that, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, it's never going to work.
Right.
Like, how can I help you? What can we do to help this agent? What can we do to help you grow your team? Okay, we go do it as a board. Hey, there's an agent that's not doing well. Everybody pay attention. Everybody jump on it. Everybody help that person. Okay, there's a lot of people in our Zoom that like hang out together. Like, they're always in the same breakout rooms together. Not even on the same team. They don't even, and they don't really care. They don't even know either. They're just hanging out and talking to each other. They're always helping each other out. Like, even within the Zoom, here's a big one. I've been into a lot of different team Zooms, and they're all labeled, like the rooms. Steven's room, Harold's room.
Yeah.
Terrible idea. Because now I'm like, oh, that's Steven's room. I don't want to go in there. I don't want to go in there. He might feel weird if I jump in the room. We just have funny names. All of our, Zoom room things like breakout rooms are like space station, innovation station, the beach or what is no North Shore Beach or something like that. It's all different names. So even one was like Sushi House. Like there's this.
I'm doing it. And Alameda is good.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite spots. So I named one of the rooms after that. But people just go into rooms without hesitation, and they don't. And everybody feels welcome. Everybody talks to each other. Even one of my best practices with like even on the recruiting side, before somebody even joins our team. Okay, the first thing I tell them is, hey, look, I know you joined the team, you're thinking about it or whatever it may be. First step is this. You got to jump on my Zoom. You have to meet my team. Okay, and I want you to have full transparency. You can ask anybody any question you want. Okay, you want to talk to somebody I'm not going to put my top producer in front of you. That's not fair. Right? This is a new person. Even my opinion, I always tell them my opinion is terrible. I've been doing it in the industry for a long time. It's like talk to somebody who's been here for a day, a week, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months, a year. Ask them any and every question you want. You want to talk to somebody who was in the real estate industry, somebody who was in medical field, whatever it is. I don't care. Parents, single parents, I don't care. Whatever you want to talk to, we'll go into a room, 15 people in there, and you can talk to anybody you want, ask anybody any question. Everybody will answer you because that's our culture. Full transparency, clarity. I want you to know what you are walking into and what type of family you're going to be walking into. We joke around, we make fun of each other, that type of stuff. We have fun, we have a good time. So that's super important, okay? Especially when recruiting. You need to have that chance. You don't ever want to be in a position where the new agent goes, hey, Steve, nobody ever told me that. How come nobody told me this? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I never want that to be an issue. So I'm like, yo, jump in, talk to anybody you want, ask him all the questions. It doesn't matter. What can I not ask or whatever, anything you want. Don't worry about me.
Right.
I'll sit there. I'll be in the same room too, but I'll mute myself and you could have your conversation. Anything. And again, we do that with everybody. Any new agent that decides to join our team, because I want you to have that, like, to know, like, yo, this is actually what it's going to be like. Not a mystery. Not me going and saying, yeah, oh, you want to meet with Tech? Yeah, no problem. Let me put you in front of my top producer. What's the top producer going to say? It's all sunshine and rainbows.
Mm-hmm.
It's the greatest thing on the planet.
Right.
You should do it. They go in and they meet some of these years ago. This is fun. This is not so fun. This is great. This sucks. So they get all of that. Full transparency.
I love that, man. Because that's the other thing is you guys have built it in a different way. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And, you talk about family culture and all that. I think that's just what, you're Filipino. That's just, that's the culture.
That's
like
true.
it is what it is. So, if someone wanted to, reach out to you and be a part of your group that is, not working with us, how do they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of different ways. You can find us on Instagram. You can find me, Harold.Durana. You can find our team, Illuminate.virtualteam. You can send me a text, call me. Call me at 408-750-0705.
Say that again. You said it too fast.
Yeah, 408-750-0705. Send me a text message.
Got it. That's cool, man. Because if I was to get started in the life insurance industry right now and I wanted to learn how to do it virtually, you guys would be the direct group that I go work with. You know what I mean? So I love that. But hey, Harold, I appreciate you coming in and sharing this knowledge with a lot of people because, the conversation about, family and the way we do it, it's a lot of people don't do it that way. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the reason why you guys are on an explosion. You guys are on the right track and growing at a fast rate. So I appreciate you for dropping knowledge. And, I always tell people, it's like, if you share this much with us now on an open call like this, imagine what you get in a private setting and private mentoring. You know what I mean? So like I said, I appreciate you for coming in. Thank you, Andrew Taylor and the FFL USA team for having us. And as always, we will see you at the top.